Welcome back to Tackett's House of Horsepower. It's me, Steve Tackett, and today we are going to continue on with Down and Dirty, trying to get it ready. So what we got to do today is possibly fill up some more holes on the firewall and maybe start on the electrical, start running that up under the dash. I need to start digging through some of these cabinets and drawers I got here and start putting together an ignition system. I think I have enough parts left over from other vehicles that I can piece together something. We'll see what we can dig up and go from there, I guess. All right, here's what I'm thinking so far. I'm gonna fill up this hole right here by installing this. It's an original under dash and fuse panel harness, but it's in like perfect condition. There is not one butt connector, splice, anything. I saved this harness. It is in really, really, really good shape. So I can clean this up and reuse it, get some electrical contact cleaner, a little wire brush, clean up my contacts. I think I'm gonna reuse this harness. Then the engine harness, I think I can get rid of most of it. The only thing I'm gonna use is the purple wire for the starter, and then what we call an HEI upgrade, which is I'm gonna get rid of the resistor wire. The resistor wire used to go to the point style distributor and coil. That hold on. This cloth covered wire is called a resistor wire, and I forget what it is, but for every inch of wire, you get a certain amount of resistance. So on your points distributors, which this would have had in 1964, it knocks the voltage down from a full 12 volts up to like, down to like 8 volts, 7, 8 volts. But you can get rid of it. And I've got this little plug here. So I can depin this guy. And I'm gonna get rid of the green wire and the blue wire because those are idiot light wires. We don't need them. And I can get rid of the cloth wire because I don't need that. Install that and run that to my new ignition system. New-ish, new modern-ish type ignition system. Anyways, you need a 12 volt trigger. So put that wire into that plug in the location of the resistor wire, and that'll take care of that. So basically, I have a wiring harness except for the other one, the other plug. So the second wiring harness I was just talking about, it's going to go over to the ignition and the wiper motor and stuff like that. The other one that would normally come off of here and go up to like your lights and horn relay and stuff like that, I'm missing that one. I do not have it. So I'll have to buy that one new. But the rest of it, I think I can save. So, you know what I mean? That's kind of the theme of the car. That's why we're calling it Down and Dirty, is we are literally gonna build this car as much as we can with parts that I already have. So, ta-da, wiring harness. All right, check that out. Looks like the contacts cleaned up pretty nice. A little bit of electrical cleaner, a little pick, and a little wire brush took care of that. And then I mounted it on there. Oh, put some fuses in it. Can you see that? I don't know. Put some fuses in it. put my dimmer switch down there. And there's some things I gotta go through over here. I'm considering putting in a Dakota Digital dash. Why? Because I like them. But yeah, I was thinking about putting a Dakota Digital dash in here. So all these bulbs, what ends up happening is you end up taking all these bulbs and cutting them off pretty much. And then like your turn signal, whatever, dark blue, light blue, you know, whatever your bulb was, that becomes your input on the computer for the Dakota Digital. And then we got a few connections down here. It looks like the purple wire, of course, that's going to be neutral safety. And then I believe this one is brake switch, neutral safety. And then this one should be backup lights. So these two I'll probably cut and extend them down and run them down to where I mount my shifter. So those will be connected to a shifter. And of course you got ignition switch and a few more lights. Most of these, all the ones with the gray wire on them is like your running lights. What else? I think you got no, that's ignition switch. That's ignition switch. So that one up here is probably, I don't know. Oh, turn signals and stuff. That's probably on one of these two. So anyway, it looks like it's pretty good. The only thing I'm really probably gonna delete on is probably this bundle of wires here. This goes to, oops. This goes, or used to go to the air conditioning and heating, so I don't have it anymore. There's a possibility we might add vintage air at some point, so I need to make a decision. I was gonna put my ignition box and MSD box and stuff up in that corner there, but if we're gonna put vintage air in this car, then I need to think twice about it. But anyway, you get the idea. We're cruising along. So this harness is pretty much ready to go, unless I can put a stock dash back in it now and call it a day, or hold out for the Dakota Digital. We'll see. But basically, yeah, this is pretty much ready to go, except for the heater stuff. I'll probably just ignore these for now. I can pull the fuse and stuff for the AC. I'm not gonna need it. But anyways, you get the idea. I'm an idiot. That's light switch. The one behind it back here, that is your steering column. Yeah, you knew what I meant. All right, let's take a look at this engine harness now. I mean, it is cheap to just buy one, but then I'm like, well, why would I buy a new one if I'm just gonna cut it up anyways? So I'm gonna try to save this one because, yeah, that's the name of the game here, is see how much I can reuse. So here, let's just start taking it apart. So I'm gonna get rid of the idiot lights. One would be water temp and one is oil pressure. So it's gonna be the green and the blue wire. That's gonna get deleted. The green one is oil, the blue one is water temp. It would have went to the, it would have went through the dash, through a bulb on the dash, and then out the firewall to this plug here, and then down to, say, a rheostat or a temperature sending unit. And basically when it drops below a certain point, or the resistance changes to a certain point, it closes the circuit and lights up the bulb on your dash. So if I'm not running a stock dash and I'm not gonna run idiot lights, I can get rid of it. So like I said, basically the green one, the blue one, and the resistor wire can be deleted. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Basically, the only thing I'm gonna reuse is windshield wiper, starter, the purple wire, and then I'll probably install this for my 12-volt circuit to my to trigger my ignition system. So I think we can reuse this, and it'll save me a couple bucks. Okay, here's your resistor wire. And like I said earlier, for every inch of this wire, hold on. So this is going to be your cloth draped wire, okay? And it comes off of the fuse box as 12 volts. And then every inch this thing goes, it increases the resistance. So it goes to your coil, the positive side of your coil. And what this is going to do is it's going to drop the voltage down while you're running the engine, while it's driving. The resistance is way reduced. The problem is when you're cranking, you've got, let's say, 12 volts battery voltage, but then when you're cranking the engine, the voltage drops pretty low, maybe 10 volts. So the resistor wire now is going to knock the voltage down to like 4 or 5 volts, you know, which is going to give you maybe not enough voltage to get a good spark. So the way they do it is they have a bypass wire, and this bypass wire goes down to the starter solenoid, and this goes down to the pin that's furthest from the engine block. So while you're cranking, let's say the purple wire is cranking. When the purple wire is cranking, the solenoid is engaged. You're going to get 12 volts off of the furthest pin. Let's say you got your big battery cable, you got your purple wire, and then you got this post over here. This post over here is going to give you an unrestricted or unresisted voltage back up to the coil. So basically it's bypassing the resistor wire. Later on they got rid of the resistor wire, and so some vehicles might have a ballast resistor up on the firewall. Same thing. You would have this coming off of the starter to bypass the resistance only during cranking. And then when you let go of the key, it stops cranking. it's going to run off of the resistor wire or ballast resistor, whichever one your car has. But in my case, I don't have a points distributor. I'm not going to have I'm not for this wire. I don't need resistance, so I'm going to get rid of it. So you can get a wire like this from Classic Industries or anywhere, really. Usually they call it an HEI upgrade, whatever, same thing. What you're going to do is you're going to plug this pin in to where that resistor wire was, right? We're going to plug that in here. Now I'm going to have an unrestricted 12-volt signal. That's specifically my ignition system wire. So I can run this to whatever, distributor, coil, whatever, MSD box, whatever I need to trigger, for my ignition system. And there's no resistance. So I'm gonna get a full 12 volts for this. And I'm gonna plug that right in where I just took it out. Just like this. Ta-da. All right, next, I want to delete those two idiot lights, the green and the blue. Get rid of these. Oh, I'm getting old. Okay, so I'm gonna pop out this one. They've been in there since 1964. Okay. Now, clean this up. Oh, you know what? This wire is probably not needed either. This is blower motor. I don't need it either. Okay, so all that is not needed. I ended up removing the wire for the the heater, the blower fan wire, the black with the orange stripe. So this is what I'm left with. Not much, but it's all we need to do what I need to do. So I think what I'm gonna do next is we're gonna kind of tape it up nice and pretty. I mean, because I'm working on a show car, over here, so it needs to be pretty. Okay, so we're gonna loom this up nice and pretty. Ta-da! Show car quality right there. Okay. No, I will make sure that everything on this car, everything's gonna work. Even the dome light, the glove box light, backup lights, everything. I like to make everything work properly the way it's supposed to. So even though this car is not going to be pretty on the outside, it's going to be functioning all the way around. Everything's going to function the way it's supposed to. So anyways, and we're doing it as cheaply as possible. So, hey, saved a couple bucks on this. All right, so here's what we got. Plugged it in, mounted my little rubber mounter guy over there. I kind of like it. It's gonna keep the wires from getting into the gas pedal linkage and all that. Plug for the wiper motor and ignition and starter. So we're halfway there. So check this out. I'm digging through my cabinet over here, looking for all my MSD stuff that came off my blue station wagon. And I remember I had this. And it's used. I think it came off of Matt Dugan's El Camino when I did that job. So I'm gonna hook a battery to this and see if it still works. If it does, I'm gonna use it. All right, I got a battery over here in the green car, so let's see what happens. I'm gonna hook it up to negative and positive. Let's hold our breath. If this works, it'll save me a few bucks. That'll be cool. All right, here goes nothing. Watch for sparks. Oh! Yeah! Thanks, Matt Dugan. All right. Looks like we got wipers. And we didn't spend any money. So let me clean this up and I'm going to put it on there. Recycle, reduce, reuse. Greta would be very happy. All right, there we go. It's all mounted up, hooked up. I got my little bracket in there. I don't know if you can see down in there. Way down in there. You got that little bracket and yeah, you can't see it. There's a bracket down there that spins this lever. I put that on and bolted it up, but there's a good chance you got a 50-50 shot that it's gonna be out because the motor, when you turn the switch off, the motor's supposed to cancel at the bottom. So if you put that bracket on upside down, then it'll be 180 out and your windshield wipers, instead of stopping at the bottom, will stop at the top. So I don't know, it's all bolted together, it's all plugged in, so we'll see how it does. But yeah, I got a 50-50 shot that it could be 180 off. I don't know. But anyways, that's important because remember, this car is going to be, you know, a drive and drag type event, sort of, kind of. It needs to be a functioning vehicle. So it's important that has to work, because what happens if you get caught in the rain? Or what happens if, you know, you got to drive 1,000 miles? Like typically some of these events are 1,000, 1,100 miles. You know, this thing needs to drive. So windshield wipers might come in handy, you know what I mean? All right, see that cabinet over there? That thing has come in big time handy today. I mean, it's like super shops in there, I'm telling you right now. So not only did I find a wiper motor today, but we got some options. Here's what I got. I have option A, which is an old 6AA and the coil that came out of the blue station wagon, and I know that was running when I took it out. So I'm 99.9% positive that would hook up and fire off right now. Option B is I have a 6AL, but I don't know if it works or not. I got it from somebody, whatever, I don't know. I don't know if I never saw that thing run, so who knows. The benefit obviously is you get the pill for the rev limiter. The boxes do the same job. A 6A and a 6AL do the same job, except for this one has a rev limiter. So I'd like to use it. I have an old coil that was on the green Chevelle back in the day, and this thing is like this thing will burn your face off. So I'm kind of leaning towards this setup here. But again, I'm rolling the dice. I don't know. I've never seen that box run, so I'm not 100% sure. So this I know would work. This setup right here ran 1140s in the blue wagon all day, and you could drive it on the street. In fact, Sarah used to drive it to work and back daily. That's not a joke. So anyways, next question. So those are my two options for ignition systems. I like to use a Comp 9000 distributor, and I know some of you are like, no, those things are junk, the modules burn up. Well, yes, they do if you do something wrong. Now, that thing will spin to 20,000 RPMs, and it'll last forever if you do one simple trick. You must get yourself a filter. This will save your ignition modules. Get these. Anybody who's ever ran a Comp 9000, the ultralight, what are they called? Unilights, whatever they were. Anyways, it had the module in them that has the light beam. It's like a photo eye in there. Anyways, if you get one of these and put it on in line from your distributor, there's a plug back here somewhere. Plug this guy into this guy, and then run this guy over to your ignition system or your MSD boxes or whatever. Okay, if you do this, it takes away it's like a filter. Think of it as an electric filter. That thing is, it's like, what kills the ignition modules is noise. If you have a noisy electrical system or a lot of static, it fries the modules. So get you one of these. And how does that happen? Well, it happens with an alternator, a starter, stereo systems, amps, all that kind of stuff. It creates a noisy electrical systems, any kind of poor connections, ground issues, things like that will cause a noisy electrical system, and it will destroy an ignition module. So yes, back in the day, those things had a kind of a reputation for going through modules, and they came out with this, and ever since then, you put one of those on, and all the problems go away, and that distributor will last and last and last, and spin lots and lots and lots and lots of RPM. So I'm telling you, it's a good setup. Those distributors are awesome. Just put a filter on it. Okay, my next decision is, what do I do? Where do I put this stuff? Like, do I mount it on the firewall? Like, you know, somewhere like this? Mount this somewhere over here? And then mount the coil somewhere on here? I don't know, maybe. Something like that. I can hear Jason Snyder right now. What are you doing? What the frick are you doing? It's gonna look like poop. Jason, calm down. Listen to me. I agree. Anything on the firewall looks like poop, but what can I do? Do I use that space and then I can save this space under here for possibly putting in vintage air? You know, a vintage air system has to go up under here. There's a giant box. It goes right there. I've installed a couple of them. I know how much room they take up. That box with all the hoses coming out the side, like it will take up all that space. So, I mean, I agree. Anything you put on the firewall looks ugly. Yes, it does. But what if I want to put air conditioning in this thing? You know what I mean? Like, what do I do? I gotta think about this. Okay, after some careful thought, Jason is right. Everything should go under here. So I guess we'll just have to tell Sarah we're not gonna have air conditioning in this car either. So I'll make a plate that goes along this line here and goes up, and I'll just cover this. I got a sheet of aluminum right here. Behind that piece of wood over there is a sheet of aluminum. And I'll just lay all this out on a piece of aluminum. Put the MSD box and the coil somewhere, like off to the side here. Put a couple of these in, so that way I can add some relays. And like, I'll mount all this onto a piece of aluminum. That way I can just make it removable. I'll put everything on that plate. I'll tuck it up underneath there. So the only thing you're gonna see over here on the firewall is I'm gonna have to have a pass-through, one of those coil wire pass-throughs. I'll have to put him somewhere over here to come over to the distributor. And then there might be a couple of, I'll have to put some bolts through it, but I don't know, like some button heads or something to hold it up. But then I can make it removable. That way, if there's a problem, I can just take it out and put it in whenever I want. So that'll be that. Okay, Jason, are you happy? All right, that should just about wrap it up for this episode, I think. We got pretty far, considering I haven't gone to the store, I haven't spent any money. Basically, everything I've done so far is parts I already had, or spare parts, or extra parts, or whatever. So this car's just going together. And I don't know. So I think next we will start on that plate. I'll fab something up, mount it. I'll make it removable. I think, and I'll put all my ignition system stuff on that, and like a distribution block for power, and a couple of relays and stuff for like line lock and all that stuff. I'll mount everything nice and neat on that board and tuck it up as high as I can so you can't see it. And I'll probably show you that all on the next episode, hopefully. I don't know, but I appreciate you watching, and thanks for cheering me on. And I'm still going, and we'll get this Down and Dirty Chevelle going here pretty soon. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit a comment, say what's up. I appreciate it. And until next time, see ya.